So a few years back, I had the opportunity to buy some shares of some stock and some cryptocurrency as well. And you know how that goes.
Ever since money was first invented, nearly 5,000 years ago, it has been controlled by kings, queens, and politicians, until cryptocurrency. Now, anyone who wants to can literally make their own money.
You might say knowledge is a very important factor when it comes to investing in shares of stock or chunks of cryptocurrency, but it's also timing. Timing is a big factor, and when people have control over that, it feels a little bit unfair. Fortunately, that's just how things work, but you have to play around it sometimes. That's life. I had to figure that out the hard way. I took a hit, and I realized it might be my turn to find something that I'm more knowledgeable about so I can have better control over the timing of the market. And I also wanted to get you folks in on it as well. You have the very same investments going on in your closet, in your basement, in your garage, in your attic, in your storage unit. You are holding on to stock just like I figured I was as well. Except it's a physical version, like gold or cash. Unfortunately, it's not as liquid as cash. Physical items such as the parts that we hold, possess, and sell, they are more liquid than stocks are. They are more liquid than some cryptocurrency. We are holding on to investments we just are not very aware of. So I wanted to share that with you folks, and maybe you could take advantage of the timing of the market as well. Now, if you're into something like that, if you like that type of a topic, you already know what to do to help me out. So please help yourself. Press that like button. Anyhow, back to what we're talking about here. What is it really worth to part out a CRX?
The Honda CRX.
The CRX.
The Honda CRX.
A Honda CRX. CRX.
So what we'll do is we'll fast forward. Oh no. So okay, the rear trailing arms, the ones I found here, are about $230 a piece, which would make it about $400. This here, they want. Let's see what they wanted for shipping here. Well, skip shipping. So Walmart's trailing arms down for $400 for a pair. Now, CRXs come in drum brakes and rear disc brakes. So the rear disc brakes are the more sought after type of trailing arms, rear trailing arms. Especially because the e-brake cables, So while we're in the back, we'll check out the rear quarter panels. And the rear quarter panels are becoming more difficult to get your hands on. You can get lucky, find a scrapper who has a CRX, and they might have one good rear quarter panel. You got to convince them to cut it for you and all that. By the time you get down to it, you're going to end up paying about $600, I think, for just one panel. So we're going to label this as $600 a pair. $300 a rear quarter panel is that used to be the price back when I was a teenager. So I can't imagine what they would be today. If you can find them, that's the problem. It's not like you can just sit around and wait and somebody's going to start manufacturing these, but we are getting to a point where it could be a lucrative pathway for some folks to get into. But here I found a rear quarter panel for the first generation CRX, and look, the shipping for that's $300. That's just shipping costs. So, and that's for one side, so It really adds up, folks. So $600 a pair is what we have it down. So far it's $1,000. Getting exciting. Some people are desperate enough to sell the CRXs right now for $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, and I'm not sure what the situation is, but Jesus. So the rear interior of a CRX is usually missing. For some reason, people want to gut a CRX as if that's going to make any of a difference. CRX is already light, so that's why I like it. You can put speakers in it, you can throw people in there, and it still doesn't make much of a difference. It's a very light car. So for here, I've found a trunk for a couple $100. Well, this one here is $90 for the trunk, so I'm assuming it doesn't come with the glass. So we labeled this as a trunk for $200 and two other pieces for $200 a piece. So that ended up being $600 for everything for the rear interior, including the trunk for some reason. So if you have rear interior plastic pieces, those are not something that people are looking to remanufacture right now. Those are actually very rare gem pieces, if you ask me, because the plastic are prone to being scratched up for being in the trunk area. So let's see what we got next. CRX trunk carpet. That's usually attached to the backing, which is usually sold with the bottom piece, which is the box, the main cargo box, not the triangle box. So I don't think we came across any, considering that it is a rare item. Oh, here we go, there. So that's $200 for the whole thing, it looked like. So at least $200, right? But like I mentioned earlier, these pieces are becoming more rare to find. If you are in fact a seller or somebody looking to part out your car, you probably want to set your prices high, since folks aren't having an easy time finding what they need. If you're the first guy they find and they kind of like your price, you have a good chance of getting what you're asking. So why start low? It makes no sense. Know where the market is at so you don't fool yourself into missing out on some profits, okay? Now we're still looking at CRX trunk pieces. I'm not sure what I was speaking about here when I recorded this originally, but yeah, this I think I was talking about how these are becoming rare, but they are very sought after since nobody wants a naked rear interior for a CRX. They're very hard to. It's hard to sell a CRX if you don't have rear interior. Practically any car. So right now, what else we're looking at? CRX rear box. Again, this is an item that we didn't come across this time around when we were searching for it. Today is about a week ahead from when I did this search, so there might be some different results if you looked in your local eBay or Craigslist. But I did manage to find these rear triangle pieces that accommodate the main box. And even those are pretty expensive here. Like somebody wants how much? $100 for a pair. That's actually a good price, especially considering those were the ones that come with seatbelts. So here we go. Here I am saying Let's see here. I make fun of YouTubers all day. It's kind of my job. It's not a very high paying job, but I love it. You gotta love what you do, folks. So, CRX front seats. Just regular old OEM stock seats. What do you think they're worth? Especially for being 30 years old. They're actually highly valuable in consideration of today's market for, let's just say, a 2022, 2021 car. CRX seats are very comparable to Recaros as far as prices goes, due to its rarity, due to the condition, all that jazz. So $650 is not unheard of for a mint set of CRX SI seats, even a mint set of CRX HF seats, to be honest with you. They're getting rare, folks. Next on the list is dashboards. So, dashboards aren't worth shit if they are tattered, torn, beaten up, cracked. But for the most part, they're actually resellable. $400 is not a unheard of price. We're talking about B plus grade though, so that means something worth reusing, something not something you would want to part out. $400 is a good price for a regular dashboard. Not with all the pieces though. So the subframe. There's the subframe and then there's the front cross member. The subframe is the area that holds that rear engine mount, and then the front cross member is what most people would call the traction bar. So the front cross member I found for about $200, $150. And the rear subframe I found for about same price, $200, $250, $225. See, so we'll just keep it on a low end here at $400, $200 a piece, and that's already bringing us to about $3,000 here. So shipping for something like that is about $50. That's not bad. It's not a bad price for something that bulky and heavy. Next on the list is a CRX steering column or steering rack. I think because people get these replaced often that there's a warehouse everywhere that stock these. So that's why the price is so low. So I think these are still readily available to buy brand new. I'm seeing the price here. They're about $100, $180. I'm not sure how these compare to OEM stuff, but it seems as if there's a bunch of these available, considering the prices. So even though, I mean, it's still high. You're still talking about $100, $200. It's not a gas cap or nothing like that, radiator cap. Am I even recording myself here? So it's the CRX windshield. I think at this point I'm looking at different glass that comes with a car. Front windshield, passenger side, driver side window, rear quarter panels, rear hatch. The rear hatch has two glass pieces, the larger one and the slimmer one. I think I ended up lumping all these as $100 a piece per glass, but that's a very low price considering the fact that things are becoming more rare. Glass is something that easily breaks, so it's very understandable. So I got this at $600. I think I just missed the price at $3,700. So we got the front. So we actually have about 7 pieces of glass. I just rounded it off and brought it down low to $600. We're trying to keep this number low so those who are skeptical about the end price would understand that we tried our best to keep the number low. So some folks out there might be yelling at me going, "No! A windshield by itself is worth $300. I understand. But we'll stick to old school prices, and I'll show you, and I'll convince you. If you're trying to get rid of your CRX for under $10,000, you're kind of crazy. So right now, a CRX door, okay? I've been in the market for CRX doors. That sounds weird. For quite some time, and I've always seen them for about $600 to $800 a set. $4,350 is where we're at if we're selling our doors for $600 a pair. So that's with everything, usually, because a person is usually not gonna take apart a door, break it down, and sell those pieces, unless they are very smart, which I would recommend you do as well. The panel itself, something like that right there, that's $200. That's like walking around with $200 if you walk around with a CRX door panel. what's next on the list here? Looks like we're taking our sweet time typing in what's next on the list. There's so many pieces to the doors that I don't see why you'd sell it as a whole, lest it be the fact that you're just in a hurry to get quick cash. So CRX engine wire harness. I think I lumped this up with all the wires, not just the engine wire harness, because if you're gonna part out the car, what are you gonna do? Hold on to any of the wires. So cabin harness, all the wires. Okay, if you're gonna sell all the wires all together, I think there's a reasonable price to ask for a couple $100s, right? Because with that person who needs that wire set, maybe they burnt a whole section of it, right? So what are they going to do? Sit there and fix every single piece? I think they'd be happier to just replace the whole thing. And if you're the closest guy, they're going to give you your price, because they're not going to go to the junkyard and pull a wire harness themselves. You know how hard that is for the average person, especially if they don't have the right tools. Look, $850 is what this person wants with $40 shipping. Okay, so let's reduce that to $300. Okay, so we won't be greedy, and that brings us to $4,650. Not bad, considering some folks are getting rid of their CRXs today for like $3,500. Why? Don't ask me why. I wouldn't do it. I've done it before, but today is a different day. What is next on the list? Ooh, let's see. So we've covered quite some items from the rear of the car up until this point here. Wire harness, that's like something usually you save for the end, right? But I want you to understand, when we part out a car, it makes no sense to throw anything away. Every single piece is something that's usable, that's a sellable part. So for CRX front spindles, this is opposite of the first thing we looked up. These hold the front brakes and the front wheels. Now, there are different options that came available from factory. There are larger ones and smaller ones. So the larger ones are more sought after. Makes a price difference. So these are right here are $220 as an example. We're bringing it down to $200. See, these are prices that we're finding at a glance. Okay. Like I said, this seems very inaccurate, but I'm telling you, if I were to be nitpicky, we would be looking at prices that are bringing in more than $60 to $150 more than what I'm saying these prices are right now. So CRX headliners, something like this guy. Look at that. See that? Oh, this is a 4-door headliner. The one for the CRX is in the car. So $200 for headliner, and that brings our total to $5,050. Dang. So, see, this guy wants $300 for a headliner piece. CRX climate control unit. Man, this guy right here is an infamous piece, because they break all the time, and they're expensive, and they're hard to find without it being broken, like this guy right here. So $175 is not unheard of price. I've seen these things go for $300, $400, $500 a set, and they're very finicky. There's like adjusting knobs that fall apart, all that stuff. For the most part, they're pretty solid units, but somehow they end up being in the hands of those who end up fumbling them, breaking them, or pushing something too hard. So $300, that brings us up to $5,350 for the part out of our CRX. Once again, we're parting out this CRX without an engine, without a transmission. So it doesn't matter if you have a DX, an EX, or an SI. We are considering this number without the drivetrain. CRX e-brake cables. So I think I lumped this all up with a interior e-brake handle, with so e-brake handle, cables, the plastic piece. See, OEM parking brake complete assembly. $350 is what we ended up labeling this. And I don't think I adjusted that price correctly. We're gonna let that roll by since I don't know what the next item is, and I think we just need to move it along. I promise you folks I would upload this last night or early this morning, and we're late in the day now. So CRX wiper assembly. I think this is also the case. This is a very similar situation as the steering assembly. This seems like something that you come across often, so the price is pretty low on them. But OEM wiper cowls, these are not something that's being remanufactured. I labeled this as $200 a piece because they are plastic, they are flimsy, they go right in front of the car, they're very prone to being damaged in the grill area. So yeah, that's $200 easily. Some people drive around without it. Some people replace it with a custom metal one, which is kind of awkward, folks. Alright, CRX window washer pump assembly. I think these are also available brand new somewhere in somebody's warehouse. Something like that. But $100 for a brand new white one, that's the reasonable price. Or even a used one that's still white. That's, yeah. Excuse me, I got mosquitoes coming in the home from the plants. CRX wheel well splash guards. Now, most folks who dump their cars don't drive around with these on because they would rub them. $200 a piece, bringing us to $6,100 total. Whoa. What the? How did I stop the recording and it's still recording? That's strange. Sorry, I got caught off guard there. CRX side molding. See, I think I ended up not looking these things up. Oh, I did. $300. And then the I labeled the side moldings as $300, and then I labeled the rocker panel cover also as $300. So that brings us to $6,700 total. The a full assembly of the trim set is hard. They're hard to come by if you find them, and then there are different types. There's the 88, 89, and the 9091s. So make sure you get the right set because that shit would look so stupid if you don't have the right rear bumper and front bumper. You can't change the moldings on those. So if you have a 9091 rear bumper, front bumper, and you got 88, 89 side moldings, I'm telling you, CRX guys, we see you. When you do that type of shit, we see it. Okay? It's not cute. So you look at that. $300 just for the side skirts. Rocker panel covers. $300. And when you ship something that large, it's not cheap. So you can get your money, but you gotta work for it. Nobody said that it's gonna be easy. You have to work for your money, folks. So you also got the little fender plastic piece, the very lower one. Those cost money as well, considering that they're right by the front wheels that turn, so they take damage. So if you find a set that are clean, be willing to pay. Tip your CRX part out guy, okay? He might start sending you more stuff for free. CRX window sash. That's that plastic piece that covers that area that's supposed to block where the seatbelt goes. $200 a piece, or a set, excuse me. They're very hard to come by. I sound like a fucking broken record right now, unfortunately. But fortunately, if you own a CRX that you're parting out, here you go. More money for you. You're welcome. I think I should take a break at this point. What do you think? So. We are looking right now at the carpet. Okay, carpet says this guy it says free shipping. He wants $200. CRX carpet is sought after because the aftermarket stuff just doesn't feel the same, look the same. It just doesn't. It's not made for it specifically, and just OEM carpet is just there's nothing that replaces that. So $200, not unreasonable. Let me see here. The CRX exhaust. Did I?
Getting close here, starting that recording.
Pricing this with the carpet? I think I ended up leaving the carpet price out. Which, maybe this is a sign to not do these next extra 5 minutes. Oh, the CRX OEM exhaust. I ended up lumping this up all the way towards the exhaust tip. So the exhaust manifold. I know I said no drivetrain, but you more than likely have the exhaust manifold. So the OEM exhaust manifold. Then you have the catalytic converter and the piping around that area, and then you have a resonator or something. I don't know. All the piping for the original exhaust, I lumped that together as $400 all the way towards the muffler and all that jazz. So complete OEM muffler and exhaust system. I lumped that up as $400, and that should bring our total to about 7,000 something.
Try to play ones with Romanji lyrics.
So yeah, I also had a hard time finding any OEM pieces, but I did find some catalytic converters like this one here for $180. California is now requiring that your car is stock. Nothing out of the ordinary. No Japanese variants. No, none of that. They want you to have it all stock. So stock parts are definitely going up in price. That's for sure. Especially these exhaust pieces, because they get burnt up, they get really hot, so they soak up a lot of oxygen throughout their lives. So this metal receives a lot of oxidation as it sits there on the car, even when it's not on. So there's a high chance of it rusting, just corrosion is a high factor when it comes to exhaust parts. Anyhow, we lump all the exhaust parts that possibly comes with a regular OEM car to $400. And the next item, I'm trying to guess what it was. Yeah, so here we are. We're looking at exhaust manifold, the heat shield, the springs, and all that. Yeah, the complete system. Like I said, labeled it as $400. As a matter of fact, I might need to shorten this section since I'm running out of things to say about it. Sound like an old exhaust setup. $7,500 is our current total, including the exhaust package. Exhausted. I'm talking about. exhaust. Our next item on the list here, what was that here? Oh, CRX sunroof assembly, I believe. Let's see if I type that out. Yep. Ooh, here's a hot topic. The CRX never came with a glass panel sunroof, moonroof, whatever the fuck you want to call it, okay? So right now you can find somebody who's selling those. See, as you can tell, just a regular old rusted OEM panel is worth about $300, $400, $500. And in the complete assembly, you'd imagine it'd be $1,000 for the whole package, but you can get lucky and find them for about $500-$600 if somebody's willing to be that retarded and sell it as a whole package instead of parting it out. So we'll just label it as $400. So that brings our total to $7,900 so far. That's amazing. That's just amazing. The CRX is prone to rust, like any car that's 30 years old. And if you have an SI, the gutter area makes the CRX even more prone to rust. Unfortunately, it was designed to prevent or inhibit oxidation in areas that panels meet, and unfortunately it brought moisture to those areas due to the rubbers and whatnot. So you got to keep a close eye on the cars you own and the cars you're looking to buy. They are prone to weather damage, especially in a state like California. So right now we're looking at hoods, metal OEM hoods. This one's $650 plus $300 shipping. Fuck. That sounds about right though, because where else are you gonna find an OEM metal hood? They're not making these brand new anymore. When they were, I guess they are still making them brand new. Let me take that back. So you can get a brand new one for about the same price, but this one is an OEM hood. So we labeled that as $400, bringing our total to $8,300. Wow. I woke up doing this, and I was planning on doing this last night when it was still like 1 in the morning. Kind of pissed off I didn't get it done already, so please forgive me for being cranky, okay? It's on my Monday. CRX front bumper you can get brand new, but it's not from Honda. They are, I believe, from Taiwan, the ones that you can get today, and they're about $200. They do the job. They work just fine. But an OEM one's good, okay? Plastic's different. And yeah, you can tell plastic's different. Fenders. OEM fenders, are they any more special or different than the metal ones you can get today that are not OEM? I myself particularly cannot tell the difference. Why did I say particularly? I myself cannot tell the difference, but people say that the OEM fenders are just more sharp, more crisp. So a pair of fenders, we labeled them as $400 here, and I believe that brings our total to 9,000 something. I think I didn't see that. OEM mirrors. Right now, prices are pretty low, if you ask me, for mirrors, because you can still find them for under $100 sometimes for one side. See, so the powered stuff, the non-powered stuff is usually cheap, right? The powered stuff is like $400 or $500, right? So these here are about $100 a piece, and in consideration of the price of aftermarket, you know, this is pretty low. So $8,900 is where we're at. Again, folks are selling their CRXs right now for $3,000-$4,000. So you tell me. CRX gauge clusters. So CRX gauge clusters, they come in many different flavors. There are automatics, there are 5 speeds, there are the ones with different red line limiters. A lot of CRXs came with B16 dual overhead cam engines overseas, and those gauge clusters are more sought after because the red line on those are higher, so a lot more sporty. They go for about $200 for the sought after ones and about $100 a piece for the regular ones, I think. Prices are low still. $100 just for the cover. $9,100 is where we're at. Fuel tank. So we looked this up at the beginning, but I ended up not pricing it for some reason. So we had to look it up this time. The reason why these are still highly sought after is because the aftermarket ones sometimes don't come with a drain plug. They don't come with insulation. They don't come black painted. And people just trust OEM over aftermarket or refurbished. That's just how folks work. So you can get up to $400 for your gas tank. Crazy part is, some junkyards just stab the fuck out of the gas tank. So you don't want one from the junkyard, obviously. $200. We'll bring it down. We're not being greedy here, right? Alright, CRX center console. People love the CRX because the center console faces the driver's seat, makes it very personal. It's like, no, this is not a shareable unit. Don't touch my shit. So these go for about $150 if you have one. Some idiot selling one for $80. But then again, they might have some scratches, they might have some damages, but these are very easily wrapped. You can wrap these in black leather, black vinyl, and you'd be good to go if you had any kind of damage, honestly. So there's an idea for you, cheap bastard. Center console, $180, bringing us to $9,480. Jeez. You're welcome, once again. So CRX headlights, look, we didn't get the best parts for our Japanese cars, but our headlights are made out of glass. Japanese ones are made out of plastic. The glass ones don't turn yellow like the plastic ones do. So that's what I like about USDM stuff. We really don't have much to say about that, though, to be honest. $200 for a set of headlights, not unheard of, especially in today's market for any year vehicle. So that's that for the headlights. $250 is what we'll label that as. $9,730 is the total. Corner lights are cheap, but the OEM ones are made by Stanley. If you have those ones, they cost a lot more money. Don't go selling those for the same price as the ones you could find for brand new. Not the same stuff, folks. You just want $50 more, you're gonna get it. So why don't you raise the price? See, like this guy wants $180. Still a low ass price in today's market. I think they're worth about $400 to $500. They're corner lights. They will take damage, so you don't want to put them on if they're Stanley until you've gotten to the car show. Idiot. $200, bringing us to $9,930. Okay. Folks, I'm giving away free stuff here, free information. If you've followed along this far, I'd like for you to help me out. I'm not even asking for $1. It's not even worth $1. Just hit the like button. Helps me out. It helps people know, hey, people like his stuff. Maybe it's not that stupid. Maybe I can learn something from his channel. CRX front bumper lights. Now, this is the same story as the corner lights. These aren't worth shit, because the aftermarket variant, there's just a ton of them available, and they look practically identical. Except the ones made by Stanley utilizes a different type of plastic meant to take the weather. The CRX OEM wheels, I've seen the prices for these go from nothing, they weren't worth the damn fucking thing, to $200, to $300 a set, to $400 a set, to now $500 or $600 a set, so long as they're a full set with center caps. And by full set, I don't mean you got 2 from here and 2 from there, 1 from here and 3 from there, because 2's for the right side and 2's from the left side. You can't mix them. You can't. So yeah, they're very specific. 2 of them are specifically for the right side of the car, and 2 is. You understand? It's a symmetrical set. It's not something you could just switch all over. $600, bringing us to 10,630 or 50. I didn't read that. Catch that. Taillights. Taillights are expensive. I remember wanting the Japanese taillights so bad, and I got them.
What is that?
I got those. I got the EDM ones. I had all the taillights, and I paid the price for them for $600. I needed that full amber corner. So what do they want today? Today's market, $650 plus $20 shipping. There you go. It's crazy because I used to watch sellers on eBay specifically sell just these parts, and now it's like somebody can actually make a living not being specific. They could part out cars nowadays. Anybody, you could do this. Look at the price on that. $450, $200 just for the center garnish with the reverse. I mean, that's expensive. This is like BMW, Mercedes prices. Alright. So that's the tail lights for you. $500 is set on average, and that brings our total to about $6,000, I think. We'll see right now. So like, this guy wants $400 just for the center garnish. It's crazy. Sometimes the only difference between the Japanese version, the only difference between a Japanese version of the center garnish and a US one is the label in the middle. $11,130. Why did I think we were at $6,000? So the difference. So we're actually looking for the rear cargo box, the centerpiece, to see what we can price that out as. But what I was mentioning about the taillights earlier, sometimes the only difference is the little logo. Well, the US version is a flat sticker piece, and the JDM Japanese version is a raised lettering sticker. So it's like a gel-like silver, non-metallic silver. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. It's like a gel-like plastic that replicates metal almost. So this is a box for a first generation CRX. I couldn't find one for a second generation CRX, so that just goes to show you the rarity on those. You could practically name your price. And I think I labeled it as $200 here. Because we're already past $10,000, it made it harder for me to justify selling at any high level on any of these parts. It just feels greedy to want more than $10,000 for these car parts. But to be honest with you, that hurts the market when we do that. We need to be truthful about what these parts are really worth so we can get our money's worth when we go to sell it. So the CRX came with rear seats outside of the United States, making them very sought after here in the United States. They normally would be $600, and all you would get is the backing and the lower piece. You wouldn't get the seat belts. You wouldn't get the rear triangle box. See, like that's this example right there. That was like they want $1,500 for the set, and that came with the seat belts and all that, right? Back in the day, if you wanted the full set, sometimes you'd have to find it from 3 different buyers to get the whole set all together, and you'll end up with something extra, something like that. But the rear, yeah. So the rear cargo box should not be the same price as the rear seat if you think about it, right? If it's $1,500 for a rear seat setup, the rear cargo box couldn't be $200 anymore. But that's what people want nowadays. What are you gonna do? Hey, I'm trying to help raise the market here, and that helps us poor folks who are looking to sell. does not help us poor folks who are looking to buy, lest it be for you to buy to sell, because right now it's very highly profitable. You can get your hands on some of this stuff. So we labeled the box with the carpet as $400 because we couldn't find any of that, right? So our next item on the list is a pair of visors. A pair of CRX sun visors look like they go for about $100. So if you have a pair of sun visors, you can get a whole $100, right? Doesn't that sound silly? Like, it sounds like you'd be losing money if you sold it for $100.
I love you.
It just doesn't seem like any of these things are worth $100. It seems like they're worth way more, considering that these are classic collectible things. So, seat belts. That's a safety item. You don't want to buy a safety item if it's used. That's not smart. Well, if you have no choice, what are you going to do? If you try to go to a Honda dealership, if you fall for the myth, oh, if it's a clean title CRX, you can take it to the dealership and they'll replace the seatbelts for you. It's a lifetime thing. Not necessarily true, okay? If that's not an option for you, go ahead and find a set that you need and pay for it. It's 200 something bucks, I bet. I think that's what I label it as. So seat rails, if you didn't already sell your seats with the seat rails like an idiot, you can make some money off your seat rails. $200 is not unheard of for a pair. Look, it's $150 for one side. So that's practically $300 a set. I'm going to bring it down to $200. Let's keep this low. Let's not be greedy. We've already passed $10,000. We don't want to take more than that. Why would you want to do that? You're poor. You don't deserve it. Fuse boxes. I'll lump this all together. Exterior fuse box, interior fuse box cover. All together, if you had it all together, how much would you sell the whole thing? I think I'll label it as $300, $200. We'll see. These parts, you can't just order them from Radio Shack anymore, okay? Or you never were really able to, right? You gotta go to the junkyard and hope that the car's there. Which is why the prices are the way they are today. They're just not in the junkyards anymore. And when they are, you got people like effing Young Static and all these other folks on YouTube just taking all the good Honda parts. Just kidding. So what did we label that as here? Let's see. Oh, CRX ECU. Well, there's a few different types. You got the automatics, the manuals. You got the DX, SI, HF. So these are usually about $100 if you got them. And because it's functional, the guy who needs it from you will pay you what you. So $200 for an operable ECU. Forgive me if I don't seem enthused to do this part of the recording, folks. Like I mentioned, I'm kind of late here. I kind of feel awful for not putting forth the energy at the right time. I'm sorry, okay? Help me out, though. Hit the like button on this upload, and maybe I'll have some stamina for smiles. Dash vent covers, $200. That's what I labeled it as. So the dashboard will have vents, grills that you can adjust to go up, down, left, or right. Those can easily be broken at this point. So if you have dashboard, I suggest you safely pop them all off so you can make more money selling those separately from the dashboard, especially if you are just selling a shitty dashboard, right? If it's not a shitty dashboard, keep it all together and keep that price up. So now we're looking at turn signal switches. These have, I think this is the same rules for as far as these parts go, as the steering rack and the what was the other one? I think so. Turn signal switch, I labeled it as $100. So we're at $12,330 total. Steering wheel. The OEM steering wheel used to be something you could buy for $25-40 from somebody, right? But nowadays, look, 150 is like the base price, 110. $200 is a fair price. The OEM steering wheel is a safe steering wheel. Okay. $200 is not unfair. Okay. When you hit your head on it during an accident, it's a lot safer than any aftermarket steering wheel that you pay for less than $100. That's for sure. Don't cheap out on safety, folks. It's just not worth it. So we label this as 150 and we're at $12,480. I'm not sure if I've convinced you, but this is a whole lot of money in comparison to $3,000 to $4,000. So if you're a millionaire or a couple $100,000 heir, you want to make some money, I suggest you go out and buy yourself some Golden Era Hondas and start parting them out, especially if you already have the tools. So now we're looking at the mud flap set, or the rear one. Yeah, I don't know if we've already calculated this. Oh, when we didn't. Funny thing about CRX mud flaps is the front ones are worth about $500 to $600 if they are brand new condition. The rear ones are not so much. They're not as expensive. They're like 20, 25 bucks. If you have the full set, it doesn't make a big deal because the people who want them are not stupid. They know you could buy the rear ones anywhere for 25 bucks, 30 bucks. But there are folks out there that are reprinting the front ones through their 3D printer for about $100 because that's a lot cheaper than $200-300 for some raggedy used OEM ones, right? Yeah, so if you have some messed up front mud flaps, you can still get $200 for those. That's how valuable these parts are, folks. You don't believe me? Look it up. Ask your friendly neighborhood CRX enthusiast. They'll tell you Jonathan's right. Defnu's not lying to you. It is a lucrative avenue for some of us poor folks. Okay, what's next on the list here? I think that's it. Oh, CRX rear bumpers. These are not hard to come by because they don't get damaged as often, and there's somebody out there who has a bunch of them all the time, so the prices are usually low. So these guys want $135 plus free shipping. That's a very fair price. Some of these rear bumpers have the wider license plate holder for European license plates. Those are awesome, but I'm not sure if you can get them for free shipping though. So CRX rear bumper, you can get rid of yours for about $140. We'll put it for $150. That brings us to $12,630. So I think I'm still looking up exhaust pieces for some reason here because I feel like I could find something. I don't know why. We already labeled it as $400 as the whole set. So let me see what I'm trying to do here. Still on eBay. Oh, still looking at mufflers for some reason. We might have to cut this piece out as well. Who knows? Thank you for sticking with me this far, okay? I really appreciate you having some faith in me, okay? I know I haven't done anything like this before, so channel's kind of brand new. Why did I think OEM would help my search? I don't know if this is a piece I was supposed to cut out and I totally spaced out about it or what, but we already took care of all the muffler pieces as $400. Hopefully I didn't mess the price up off of that one search. I didn't realize how much time I was wasting when I first recorded this. I thought I was going through this as fast as I could. So CRX OEM seat belts. I thought we already priced this as well. So $150, and that's just for the left side. We put it for $250 for the pair, bringing us to $12,880. $13,000 practically. I mean, let me see here. Is that the last item? Kind of getting desperate if you're selling seatbelts. No, it's not true. You're desperate if you need to buy seatbelts. That's my whole point. Get your money. Don't listen to these people with the laugh cry faces on people's ads, pretending to be real men outside of that realm. It's very strange. Your parts are worth what you feel it is to your local neighbors who need them from you. Okay? Be greedy if you need to. Get your profits. Make your money. Don't be an idiot.